If your brain won't stop running, this video is for you. Growing up, I have been a chronic overthinker. Ever since I can remember being conscious, I've been overthinking. When I was in grade school, the earliest I can remember caring about what others thought of me was in fourth grade. In fourth grade, I stopped letting my parents dress me, and I started going to the mall to get specific clothes. I started wearing, back in elementary school, we used to rock the V-necks. And I started spiking my hair up in a specific way. I started caring about the girls and what the girls thought of me, what my friends thought of me. I think I was about 8 years old or 9. Ever since then, man, I've just been overthinking constantly. It hasn't stopped. Why do we overthink? I think the most important way to overcome overthinking is a paradigm shift. And what does that mean? It means we're thinking about it in a different way. Instead of thinking about it in a negative way, we want to think about overthinking in a more neutral way. You might say, well, Avery, how do I think about this in a neutral way? This really affects me. I can't go out in public without overthinking. I can't focus in school. I can't pick up any chicks because I'm constantly overthinking. I'm constantly thinking, what are they going to think of me? They're judging me. Well, I get it. How would this be a good thing, right? Doesn't make sense. You're thinking about it wrong. We overthink as a way of protecting ourselves. We overthink because we're trying to stay safe. Our brain, it's a really good overthinker. We're really good at overthinking because we've evolved to this point where we are so good at protecting ourselves from harm. How else do you think humans have developed up to this point, right? It started in primal scenarios with overthinking would cause you to be able to not go out into the woods at night, right? There's predators roaming the ground. We can't go out and look for food until it's safe. And that has developed over time. But our brains, they don't see the difference between a predator and overthinking for the fact that you want a girl to like you. Our brain doesn't recognize that, and that's okay, because that's where we come in. Fight or flight, it's a means to protect ourselves. It's a means to stay alive, or at least it used to be. Back in primal times, I can't go out into the woods to look for food because there's jaguars and panthers and wolves around, right? Nowadays, we don't have to worry about jaguars and panthers and wolves. Nowadays, it's more like, if I wear these new shoes, are people going to think I'm cool? Or are people going to call me gay? We still overthink. Our mind still has this process, this fight or flight process going on, but it's happening with things we don't need it to. We don't want it to. So what can we do about that? Well, the first thing that I did was I took a step back, and instead of judging my brain for overthinking, I looked at it in a more neutral way. Our brains are designed to overthink. Our minds overthink to protect us, right? It's a good thing. If you're overthinking, it's a good thing. It means that your brain is still working. It still is trying to protect you. And as long as your brain is still working, as long as it's still protecting you from harm, you're going to have to overcome this overthinking thing, because unfortunately that's what us humans do. We overthink about everything. Identify the fear. Now, I like to think about it like this. It's kind of like a pyramid, okay? It's kind of like, it's a system. When you're overthinking and you're having a million thoughts rush through your mind, instead of thinking about it like focusing on all of these thoughts, the thoughts are going to boil down to one or two fears. So, I used to overthink a lot about what I wore to school. I didn't want people to think I looked weird. I didn't want girls to look at me and think, that guy's not attractive, he's wearing loser clothes. So this was an example of overthinking. Instead of focusing on the hundreds and thousands of thoughts that rush through my mind while I'm wearing my brand new pink shirt to school, instead of thinking about the thoughts, change it, shift your thinking to what fears are causing these thoughts. So, I don't want a girl to think I look ugly. Well, that could be a few things. That could be the fear of rejection. That could be the fear of being alone. Nobody wants to be alone. Everybody wants to find their person before they die. Fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of failure. In extreme cases, fear of getting hurt, being harmed by others. So it's a lot easier to focus on the fear instead of focusing on the thought, because there are a lot of thoughts. So many thoughts that our brains get really overwhelmed. So identify the fear behind the thought. Once you identify the fear, what do you do next? You look at the fear in an objective point of view. Fear is an emotion. Using the whole clothes example, there are many emotions tied to that we've identified. Fear being the big one. What is fear? What are emotions? Are emotions your fault? Are you a bad person because you're having emotions? No. You're just a normal person. You're just like everybody else. In fact, I think emotions are healthy. And if we take this viewpoint with our fear, for example, I don't want people to think I look ugly with my new shirt. It's completely okay and completely normal for me to have this fear, because fear itself is an emotion, and emotions are very normal. And so you see, we've taken the thoughts, we've boiled all the thoughts down to one or two emotions. We've taken a step back from the emotions. We've looked at them with an objective lens. Just remember, I'm overthinking because I have an emotion. And I have an emotion because I'm human. This is normal. This is a normal part of life. One of the points of being here is to feel things, right? We're here to feel things, to feel emotions. I can feel this rock. Well, I have gloves on, but I can feel how cold it is right now. That's something I can feel. But feeling things is good. Because if you couldn't feel anything, that would suck. What's the point if you can't feel, right? So while your thoughts and your overthinking might seem crappy in the moment, ultimately it is why you are here. It's to feel things. Our minds want to protect us. They're going to overthink because they want to protect us from getting hurt. They want to protect us from being uncomfortable, from being rejected, from being alone. We just want to be loved. We just want to be happy. We want to feel at peace. So we overthink. We overthink to protect ourselves. Overthinking comes from emotions. And emotions come from being human. The next time you overthink, just remember, hey, I'm normal. I overthink. It's a part of life. Anyways, guys, peace out.